You said something else earlier with Mitt Romney. Yeah, I want everybody to start at the same level when they get started, right? Versus it's not fair that Mitt Romney's kid, or Mitt Romney's a bad example. We can use anybody's kids.
Paris Hilton.
Paris Hilton, exactly. That's a great example. That's the better example, actually,
right,
to say, it's not fair. Who is she to all of a sudden, hey, I'm doing a documentary, people want to watch me, look how cool I am, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so what should it be? So let's just say I am the Hilton family, and we got $2.5 billion of money. How much of that should end up going to Paris?
Well, that's a good question. I think that needs to be debated by the people and determined by the people. But if you're asking my personal opinion,
I want to know yours.
Yeah, my personal opinion. I think I wouldn't go as far as some of the revolutionaries to say like she should literally start with nothing and inherit nothing. I think that's far too extreme.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep if she went from having $2.2 billion to, let's say, having $50 million. I think Paris would be just fine with
99%.
And honestly, I think this exact example,
crazy.
I think is a good example where a lot of people would see where I'm coming from, whereas there's others where it might be a little more
Say what? Give your argument.
Yeah.
I got to follow up to that.
No, I mean, because because the way we think of the economy, we think of it, some people do, I should be clear, as like it's a merit-based thing. It's a meritocracy.
Yeah.
I don't buy that at all. I think your human value versus your market value are totally separate things. And we judge everything based on market value. So somebody like Paris Hilton, what has she contributed to the world? She's contributed nothing. And we're going to feel bad if she inherits $50 million. And that's just because people would look at it on paper and say, well, her dad had $2.2 billion or whatever the fuck. And it's like, I think she's going to be okay with $50 million. I think the people that I'm concerned about are the people who are busting their ass and getting absolutely nowhere, people who work 2 or 3 full-time jobs and they don't make enough money to survive. And I think one of the best groups that you can tax in a society is rich dead people to give everybody else a chance.
They do tax rich dead people. It's called the estate tax.
True, but it's like 0.001%. It's a very, very tiny number. I think it kicks in. You can fact check me on this. I think it kicks in over $5 million or $11 million.
20 million is the number.
Oh, now it's 20 million.
It's been that. Well, it goes back and forth between different administrations. Bush pumped it up.
Yeah, but it's very high, right?
Yeah, but still, you know what the tax? When you said 0.1%. That's not what they're paying in tax.
No. Oh, I know that. No, I'm saying it only applies to the top point. Of course,
what percentage of people are worth $20 million? But do you know what the estate tax actual amount is? Do you know the number?
50, 75?
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So if you're worth $50 million,
right? Mm-hmm.
There's a 20% threshold, so that's tax exempt. And now you're paying that $30 million additional, you have to pay 50% to the government. The death tax. Number one, you've already been taxed prior to receiving that money. So it's a double taxation, which we can go on for days on how that works. So you already paid the income tax, ordinary income tax, or whether it's capital gains, what have you. And now, speaking of dead people, now you need to pay an additional 50% upon death.
But would you say Paris Hilton earned it? That's my question.
But that's not, I don't, Paris Hilton, she came up with the word, that's hot. That went viral. Good for her. Awesome. But regardless, Paris Hilton is the perfect poster child for someone who has just lucked out and got the money.
Correct.
But I say we stay on this story. This is a good example.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
But should the Hilton family that created industries, hotels, jobs, brands, everything, are you saying that they should be taxed at 99%? Forget about Paris or Nikki or whatever brother or sister. Who cares? The only reason we know their names is because she's famous and she's kind of, had the ability to leverage her name to become famous, and kudos for her for that. But you're saying that the family should be taxed because they've done so well?
No, in this instance, I'm specifically talking about Paris and how much money I think she could get. And clearly I'm pulling this number out of my ass because, it has me to come up with a number on the spot because I don't know. I actually don't know how much money her family had. I don't know how much money she had.
This isn't, I think the audience knows that we're just having a conversation.
I understand that. Yeah. So, but I think my point is, the fact that she's inheriting $50 million when her only contribution to society is that she's part of the lucky sperm club, like I don't feel bad for her. And I don't think she's a victim. I don't think she's oppressed.
Yeah.
I think if Paris Hilton got $50 million, she wouldn't lose a wink of sleep, and we could actually, and there's the more important point, take the money that we're taxing, and under a system that I'm in control of, if I was God, Emperor, King, right, what I would do is I would take that money and put it towards things that actually help people. Now,
how much of that move the needle, though?
Let me come to a point of agreement with you, though. I would agree with you if you say, hey, let's do this tax on Paris right now. I would say, Well, I need to see where that money's actually going to go. What are we going to allocate that money to? Because if you say I'm going to take that money and I'm going to turn around and use it to bomb Afghanistan into smithereens, then I say, you know what, we're right. We probably shouldn't do that plan because I don't want that money going to bomb poor innocent kids. But if you tell me we're going to take that money and put it towards whatever, fill in the blank, a UBI program, healthcare, then I'd say, yeah, that makes sense.
So then the challenge with that becomes you're going back to ESG. It's a form of ESG to control where my money goes to. And somebody may say, who the hell are you to decide where my money should go to? So with all the craziness taking place, I believe future looks bright. If you believe future looks bright, get your latest Future Looks Bright hat of Valuetainment. It says Future Looks Bright here, Future Looks Bright here. We got them in white, we got them in black, we got them in red. Our black on black sold out. These are about to sell out. If you haven't ordered one yet, we had a person in Michigan, bought one, then he bought three. Then when those three people weren't in the office, they had to order 58 of them because people wanted the Future Looks Bright hat, especially during times like this, because ain't nobody saying Future Looks Bright. To order your Future Looks Bright hat, click over here. And to watch the entire podcast, click here. Take care, everybody.